And if you don't have a healthy body, mind, and spirit, it's hard to be authentic.
We're given one body in this world.
Yeah, if you told me you have to go buy this special food,
I'm out.
Yeah, I quit.
We love birthdays.
Because we're not dead.
Don't set these lofty goals. Girl, we haven't even gotten started yet.
Welcome to Loud and Lifted. I'm your host, Betsy Ham, and today I'm thrilled to share the mic with two women who live and lead with unstoppable energy, Patty Sibbach and Kathy Anderson Martin. Patty and Kathy are a dynamic duo with decades of experience in corporate strategy, nonprofit leadership, women's health, and athletic coaching. They're known for bringing real talk, real tools, and real impact to every stage they step on. Their signature message is something we could all use. Become a triple threat: authentic, active, and ageless. In this conversation, we explore how to show up as your truest self, stay physically and mentally active in every season of life, and rethink what it means to be ageless. If you ever felt the pressure to slow down, dim your light, or play small, you're going to want to hear this. Welcome to Loud and Lifted. Patty and Kathy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Love it. Thanks, Betsy.
Awesome. I feel left out that I'm not in the same room with you guys, so I apologize. I got to work on my setup that I could have 3 people in the same room, so we'll do that maybe when you guys come back. But I'm happy to be here today with you guys, and wanted to start off by first, if you guys could sort of introduce yourself and talk about your background and why you two are here together.
Well, that's a lot, but
right. Keep it brief.
That's right. That's right. I'm Kathy Anderson Martin, and I graduated from Penn State and worked many years in the corporate world, sales manager, national account manager. And I know Patty's going to say, oh no, she's going to tell a heart story, but I am. But within 10 days of 2000, my husband and I were waiting to adopt. I found out I had a heart condition I never knew I had. We got the call to adopt our daughter, and then she had the same heart condition. That all happened within 10 days. And I share that because that blew up all my plans. Got me into a second career in the nonprofit world. And that's what I've been doing since we adopted our second daughter thereafter. And a lot of similarities between the corporate world, nonprofit, a lot of pivots and changes, and even still today doing a lot of those changes. So that's a little bit my background, and where I am professionally and personally, being a wife and mom and all those things certainly changes a lot of things as well. So I told the heart story, Patty, which she's always like, is you telling that again? I do.
What did I say to you last night? I said you have a heart of gold.
Yeah.
So that is true.
That's very nice.
With a Teflon patch on it. True story.
Ooh,
go ahead.
Okay, I like that. Hey, that's recorded, so now everybody knows that you definitely said that. So you have proof.
Yes. Awesome. Hi, Betsy. Patty Sibbach here. As you know, fellow Shippensburg University grad. I attended university on an athletic scholarship, which really helped me get my college education. Spent most of my professional career in health and wellness, pharmaceutical sales, more so diving into women's health. In 2020, I pivoted full-time into our personal training studios, which are called Precision Training Concepts, where we do one-on-one personal training, as well as corporate wellness and fitness. Opened up a membership-based facility when we moved up to Perry County, a very underserved area. And we just feel, my husband and I feel as though we have a gift of fitness. It came easily to us, doesn't come easily to everybody, and we want to give back as much as we can. The way that the two of us got together was, Kathy, do you want to share that story?
Well,
of course she will.
Yes, I will absolutely share that story. And I'll even give her a shout out with this. But we've been friends for a while. Met when I was working at the Salvation Army Harrisburg. We met. And so it was more than a decade ago or so, 15 years ago or so. And became friends. We're very different, have a lot of differences, a lot of commonalities as well. But a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, Patty, there was a lot more of me than there is right now. And Patty said to me, you have to, Kathy, invest in your health. And while I was always that person who went on the New Year's diet, lost weight, and then regained that plus 10 more pounds by Christmas, and you're like, how did I gain 70 pounds? I realized I needed to make, when Patty said that, you have to invest, that it is an investment in your health. And then that affects every other part of your life. So that really, I've transformed my health, and I give her credit. And now, like you say, it's on tape for helping me make that information.
Now the only thing big on her is her personality.
Oh,
and I'll
boy,
take that.
Right.
I don't
Nice.
know. All these we're not used to complimenting each other
I
like this.
know. And
I
again,
know.
this is recorded. So like you have
I know.
proof that you
It
said
goes
these
on
nice things.
forever.
Right. Right. And the way that we're together, Betsy, is Kathy already said it. We're very different. We're very different people. Our interests are different, but there are some definite common threads that we found that we live our lives on. And from that, we've really created a platform that we feel as though we've been able to educate other women, other men as well,
Right.
but
Sure.
on that.
And so many women, and I think we fell into this maybe at some point, feel like they need to be all things to all people as opposed to being who they are and authentic with who they are.
Right.
So,
Right. We just spoke earlier before we went on broadcast here that sometimes you set yourself up for unrealistic expectations and you feel as though you're going to be a failure in everything because you can't give that 100% to all those avenues in your life. And because of that, what we reiterate is that authenticity. You need to be authentic with yourself.
And so let's dig into that a little bit. So when you say the word authentic, we throw that around a lot, right? Like what does that actually mean? And how does somebody show up being their authentic selves?
well, it means, and if you look up the definition, it means being true to oneself, your values, and personality. And that is, while it sounds simple and we could probably all pull that definition off the cuff, it's more difficult to live in practice when we're trying to be all things to all people.
However,
Yes.
there's a big but to this. And I use the word respect. You still need to be respectful to others, and you can be as well as being authentic too.
Right. So we've presented and we share about the importance of being and living authentically, but that doesn't mean you cancel out other people and say, I'm just going to do this to heck with everyone else. Like, yo, I'm just going to leave my family and my kids, whatever, because I want to go, roam South America. You still have responsibility and there are still things, and we want to communicate that because we believe strongly in that. It's not a license.
Right, absolutely. And then how do you, if someone's struggling with being authentic and it's sort of, people talk about balance, especially with women, which I hate because we're not balancing anything, we're juggling. So sometimes you have to prioritize work and sometimes it's your kids and, everything's just kind of up in the air at times and you're just trying to get things done. So how do you go through that and be authentic and have that balance of respect? 'Cause I get it. That'd be amazing to say, you know what, I'm good. I'm just going to go on a 2-week vacation, see everybody, I'll be
Right.
back. So, how do you give advice on being able to do that and be productive essentially?
Well, I think some of it when we present and share, we use our real lives and as examples. I think so. I'm one of those people. I don't do well with 20-page manuals or 50-page manuals. I like to hear other people's stories and how that and what's relatable. So we share a lot of that. We found that with ourselves. There are certain things. When I was my kids were in marching band, I was like, what is the least I can do to put a check mark beside my name to count that I did? And I say that because I just realized I felt like I needed to contribute, which I did, but that's not my kind of thing. And they're different things. When my kids were little, I kind of backed away from the workforce, worked part-time a little to be with them. In my case, that's okay. That was my choice. It's not everyone's choice, but to give myself freedom and others, that's my choice. And you've had other
I
differences.
have. I mean, where I was at 40 was nowhere near where I thought I was going to be at 40 or even 45.
Because she's now 45.
I'm staying at that age.
42.
I was wondering where she was going with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But for where I thought I was going to be in life, I felt like a big fat failure because I was trying to juggle a career and trying to juggle raising kids and being a perfect neighbor and a perfect wife and perfect employee. And none of those cups were filled to the rim on I felt like a constant failure. I had a failed marriage and that's tough. That's tough. So to answer your question, how do you deal with that? You have to put what's most important at that stage in your life first. And I think what we found is where we are in life now, because we've had so many years of corporate life and business ownership,
Right.
you can still, I use the word pivot, but you can still embrace other opportunities. Like we're in our second half. Like you can tell, we're not slowing down.
Right. And the
Right.
word I use frequently is grace. You give yourself grace. You give grace a
Mhm.
lot of times to other people, but you have to give grace to
Yeah.
yourself.
I was way too hard on myself. Way too hard on myself.
Oh. And then how
And
did you get past that? How did you sort of adjust and be able to sort of take a step back and realize that you maybe needed to recalibrate certain areas of your life, but to give yourself grace?
for me, I had to come back to what was most important. And at that point in my life, it was my children. And I had to think, what kind of example am I showing them? Were they going to be more impressed over the fact that I have this wonderful career and so forth? Are they going to be more impressed that I'm with them? And I can always go back to work. I mean, I'm still work. I had to as a single mother at one point, but I just knew that I can always go back to something. I'll never have that moment with my kids again. And you're the same way with that.
And I share that. I say that heart story because I look at that was before my life, before and thereafter, because I had a condition that, as a doctor said, when you had symptoms, it was too late. Mm-hmm. So when you realize that any day I could have dropped over, I had a congenital heart defect, every day is that much more precious and positive. And certainly my faith, and I know that's with you as well, there's so many things that it's major on the majors, not the minors. And, we all get caught up in stuff, but is that really important at the end of the day?
Right. Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
When we speak, we'll have women coming up to us afterwards saying, boy, I really resonate with Kathy. Or then others will be like, boy, Patty, I really resonate with you. I've had the same struggle. So it's really nice that we have the balance of our life experiences to share with audiences of, wow, and asking that same question. How did you survive this? How did you not only survive, but how are you now thriving from it?
Thriving. Absolutely. No, I love that. And I love the second half, right? That you're saying that now you're thriving in the second half. You guys are not slowing down. I feel like you're both all over the place doing amazing things.
Started yet.
I was thinking the minor on the minors before we went on the air here. She's like, fluff your hair. And I'm going, quit fluffing your hair. And she's like, you need to fluff your hair. And I'm like, quit. And then, hey, Betsy.
So Betsy's fluffing her hair.
Like you fluffing your hair.
Yes.
But that's kind of that minor on the minors. And, there might have been a point in our life that was people get hung up on those kind of things. Now to us, that's hilarious. That's our differences and so forth.
But I think back to, when I first especially met you, Kathy, was at the Salvation Army, and you'd be emceeing Shoe Strut, and you were very good at being, not very good because it's who you are, being authentic, right? Like you stood up there, you could make fun of yourself. You could be like, oh, I'm Patty's twin. I could, you just were very good about putting yourself out there and laughing at yourself. And I mean, that was what makes you so relatable, is the fact that hey, I can.
It's confidence. You have to have a certain level of confidence, not arrogance, but confidence.
Well, and I think also, when we do this presentation, that the first point is authentic, but then the second part is active. And we go into, because I mentioned, Patty helped me change my health. And if you don't have a healthy body, mind, and spirit, it's hard to be authentic. Because if you're miserable within your own skin physically, that creates a whole lot of other challenges. So that goes into it, certainly from her background. But I've learned that because we say, oh, that, but it's so important, really.
Let's dig into the active, because I think that's so important. And I know that's a big part of your platform is being active. So what does that look like? What does that mean? And I mean, you just started to touch on, why is that so important?
Well, again, when Patty said invest in your health, I lost 50 pounds and I've kept it off, first time ever, versus all the yo-yo dieting and so forth. So it's more than just losing weight. When I did that, I stopped taking medications. I went from pre-diabetic to normal. I don't take, my everything changed as far as my health. And that even changed, not that I was depressed and so forth, but it changes everything when you feel good. It feels good to feel good. And that it's hard to be authentic when you're miserable within your own skin. So that was my change of life. And, because of my health, it changed so many other things.
And we see it every day in our studios, Betsy, where, individuals have spent their lives focusing on other things that mattered, or what they perceived mattered most in their lives. We're given one body in this world, and you got one chance. It's one car. If you were given the opportunity to own one car in your life, how would you take care of it? Right? And that's your body. And as Kathy says, yes, it's physical, but we know that physical activity, what we eat, really is just a part of your total being. It's how you act, how you sleep, how you treat others, how you perform in your job, how you perform as a parent, a spouse. The list goes on and on and on. And it all starts with how you treat yourself, both from a physical component and from a nutritional component. And from that, we've created
Giving Wellness. So because of
Nice.
Patty and the impact and things that we did just kind of organically, we created this and people asking me, how'd you do that? How'd you lose weight? What happened? And it's healthy habits.
Right.
There's no magic
Sure.
formula. We're not going to say go take medication or anything else. I want to do what's good and
sustainable.
Sustainable. Yep.
Right. So we created Giving Wellness, which is an 8-week healthy habits challenge to help others find a kind of focus on those things, whether it's fruits and vegetables, less sugar, movement, and all of the things. And we've had over 200 people.
Over 200. We are now promoting it to a corporate environment because companies are finding, obviously it's a win-win, right? You have a healthier employee. It's a healthier employer. You go into the whole insurance claims, that sort of deal. It's not only that, but think about the way the workforce is now. It's very disconnected. We're virtual, right? So we have employers coming to us saying, I want my employees to connect better. Do you have a way for it? Yes, we do. In a friendly challenge with accountability, developing sustainable, healthy habits for them. And in addition to after an 8-week program where they're able to have the sustainable eating better movement, there is an additional give back to a nonprofit of their choice.
Right.
That's awesome.
So,
I love
and
that.
that's why the name Giving Wellness to Yourself and Others. And, it's a win-win all the way around. I am now a spokesmodel. So
Whoa, congrats.
I have put myself at the level of being a before and after. I'm like 17 magazines before and after, or Glamour's do and don't with my eyes crossed out.
Well, and Betsy, going back to what we were saying before, the fitness came really easy to me, right? And I said, I'm a big believer that everybody's given gifts. That's my gift. I know how to help others get healthier. She's very empathetic. Kathy's very empathetic to it because it wasn't easy for her.
Sure.
And a lot of people can relate to that. Right.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
I love to walk, and walking has become my stress reliever versus wine and cheese on the porch every evening.
I mean, I like both, but yeah, it's a balance, right?
I'm trying to, be the Giving Wellness spokesperson,
moderation.
But that and being outside, and it's amazing. And I was the first person when I started to say, I'm never going to want vegetables. I'm never going to want. You do, things change, your habits, but you just have to do it.
Right. And it's like you said, it's nothing crazy. It's nothing nope, I'm out from the beginning.
Yeah, if you told me you have to go buy this special food,
I'm out.
Yeah, I quit.
Right. Well, it's so funny. I've always been into health and wellness and being active, but I think, in my 20s, it was more like how I looked, right? Like it was just about like, oh, I need to lose 5 pounds. Oh, I have to wear a bathing suit. It was very physical, like that I would be focused on. And then I think just as I got older and realized that was also like a stress reliever and, to go to yoga or go to the gym or go on a run, like made you feel better. And now as I get older, like in your 40s and you are like, oh shit, like I have to care about like lifting weights more and, not getting osteoporosis and eating better and looking especially at the older generation who has so many health issues and whether it's high blood pressure or cholesterol, whatever it is, that there's things that we can be doing now to not have this not great lifestyle in the future. It's funny how that sort of changes as you get older, at least for me, where it's like my why and my reasons. But I enjoy it, right? Like to your point, I enjoy working out. It makes me feel better, but it's just finding what you can do and what's sustainable. Cause I think that's probably one of the biggest things you see. I mean, we're all guilty of it at some point where you get on, whether it's a fad diet or a crash diet or some crazy exercise regimen that's just not sustainable. So it's like finding that thing, right? That's sustainable and know that you might have a bad day or a bad weekend, but it's okay. Like just move on and get back on track. So I think we get so focused on being 100% and that's not going to happen. You're going to have to balance and you can still have wine and cheese on the porch too, but maybe after your walk.
And you nailed it too. It's find your why, right? We talk about that, find your why.
Yeah, we do.
And that varies for everyone. And also you also hit on the point where your reasons do change over time. Your fitness evolves over your decades. And I think us coming from, we've worked over 40 years in our.
I'm surprised she didn't say she's older, but
she is. She's older, but that's beside the
a
point.
year and a half.
And but it does. So what the good news is, it's never too late. It's never too late to have healthier habits. And we talk about exercise. We don't even use the word exercise.
No.
We talk about movement. Or find the movement that you like and keep it. When we go into schools or organizations, we don't teach that to 5-year-olds or 70-year-olds.
And you know, when we talk about this, what you do as a woman, as a wife, mother, friend, has a ripple effect on the people around you. And we talk about that because you're setting an example for your kids. My husband and I, we went on a cruise last week with my 78-year-old mother, who was inspired by Brian and Patty. Mm-hmm. She'd been overweight my whole life, lost 60 pounds, and she went on the cruise with us, kind of a bucket list thing. She could not have done that years ago without changing her health. So it's not just a matter of losing weight or looking better. It's a matter, how do you want to live? And what kind of example are you being for your kids, not just with health, but all of these other things, confidence, living authentic. You can't expect your daughters to be authentic and healthy if you're not.
You were just talking yesterday about birthdays, how some people love birthdays and how other people hate birthdays. We love birthdays.
Because we're not dead.
Me too. I agree. I totally agree.
If you don't have a birthday, you're dead. All right. All right. That's in our presentation. Yeah, so we just get excited.
No, I love that.
We were so professional up to that point.
I know. I spoke to a group at a recent college, and the kids seemed not disinterested, and I'm, 30, 40, 10 years older than they are. And I said, I know you're thinking you're never going to be my age, but if you don't, you're dead. So plan accordingly. So,
yeah, no, I agree. I'm a big fan of birthdays. I totally agree, because you're right. The alternative is you're dead. You're not.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I had to get that off our chest. All right. We might continue.
Yes. Next question.
No. You're good. So just one more thing about being active. So if someone's listening to this and they're like, wow, I really need to get my act together, I'm in my 40s or 50s or whatever age, how do you get started if you just are in a rut and you're not sure how to get the momentum at least to start headed in the right direction?
If someone is clueless and doesn't even know where to begin, consult a professional. Consult a credible professional, health and wellness. And then don't set these lofty goals. We've had clients come in where, hey, I'm going to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro. That's not really a realistic goal to set first. So set smaller, attainable goals, and then once you achieve those, go on to the next goal. It may be just, I'm going to go for a walk after dinner tonight.
Yeah, I love that, and go ahead.
I was just going to say, my journey, I averaged at losing my weight a half a pound a week. Okay. That was over, to lose 50 plus pounds.
Fun fact, now she has a streak of,
the end of, soon it'll be 3 years that I've walked every single day, 10,000 plus steps.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And I work at that, but little things along the way. I worked with our team here, and like little goals, like, okay, every morning you seem to eat pretzels for a snack. Why don't you have a piece of fruit instead? And little things, because if you had told me, here's all this plan, again, 20-page plan, I couldn't do it, but I could do one little thing at a time. And then that adds up to big things.
Yep. I love that. It's just like everything else. I think sometimes people get paralyzed because they get overwhelmed by trying to be up here when it's like, no, just start here. It's like everything else. Just take some baby steps and head in the right direction.
I call that paralysis by analysis. You look at it too much and then you do nothing.
Right.
Yep.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're like, I'll start next Sunday, and then it's Monday, and then you're like, I'll start next Sunday. Like, just start tomorrow. It's okay.
I just said that today. I was on the cruise. I gained 3 pounds on the cruise, which I was shocked that it was only 3 pounds. However, in the past would have been like, I gained weight. I might as well just keep it going till I might as well eat the donut today. Well, I ate the donut. What the heck? I might as well get fries for lunch. What the heck? I'll go get wings. Yep. Now I'm like, okay, I gained 3 pounds, and I go back to the habits, like in giving wellness, that made me successful, because I know I'll repivot and then go back, recalibrate.
Sure.
We were at an awards luncheon yesterday, and I looked over. I was very proud of her. You know how you have the plate and then have the dessert in front of you.
Dessert.
It's a lemon cheesecake. I'm like, whoa!
I ate 2 bites. She only had 2 bites.
I was like,
that's good.
But she was going like this, and so that kind of helped. But if you have someone that follows you around smacking food out of your hand, that would be
It
helpful too.
helps. Yeah. She throws her trash on your plate. Yeah, whatever.
That's costly. So
That's hilarious. That's awesome. That's great. Well, so the last piece, which you kind of touched on, is if you're not dead, you're alive, you're celebrating birthdays. So talk to me about being ageless and what that means to you.
well, there again, so many times we say, "Oh, I can't do that. I'm at this age." Whether you're young, like, "Oh, I'm this age," and then when you get older, like, "Oh, I can't do that." I'm a perfect example. I'm 59, and
Oh,
I said it.
50 wine.
Stop it. And I'm not dead, but just recently I changed what I'm doing, stepped back down from my full time job, still doing some, but opened an LLC to do some things, consulting, and even things with giving wellness and so forth and speaking that, I've always wanted to do. And I would have probably said in the past, like, oh, I'm 59, I'm getting close to retirement. No, I'm just ageless is, there's still opportunity and to change, not to be irresponsible. It's not like I said, I'm going to go cash in all my money and move to Tahiti, without a plan, but to make reasonable choices to do things that I more want to do. The same you did with going to full time at your businesses.
Oh, absolutely. And I think if you are active, it's easier to be ageless.
Sure.
You're feeling about yourself. Your brain's working. You're firing on all cylinders. It's like, what can I do now? I don't want to slow down. I don't want to slow down. People at our age are retiring, really looking at their retirement plans and thinking, when can I cash out? When can I stop? I don't want to slow down. I don't want to slow down.
It's more being able to make choices of things maybe you want to do more.
Smart choices.
Smart.
Smart choices that make sense. And, we're at a point where we know that we have gifts that we need to be sharing with others. And that includes from the workplace environment, from a health and wellness and place environment. So,
and it helps to go through life having a sense of humor and being able to laugh at yourself. You said that earlier, and others. And I think that's something we say we have a lot of differences,
right.
But we also have the same basic attitude, like don't sweat the small stuff,
right.
Keep moving. You can sit in it for a minute, but then
move on. It's okay to be down, just don't stay down.
That's very true.
And have a friend who says, if you don't stop, I'm going to punch you in the head. That's kind of what we say.
Violence kind of goes a long way, so that's fine.
We won't allow each other to stay down because
I love that.
Yeah, that we need to offer. And find that accountability person in your life.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's kind of ageless. I spent way too many years of my life trying to be with certain people, or now, not that I, don't respect or am cordial with people, but surrounding myself with those people who make me a better person and vice versa.
Yeah. I can remember younger in my career, I felt like, boy, I just didn't fit in. I thought differently.
Same.
I thought differently. I wanted to go about it differently. I was a hard worker. And I'm like, gosh, am I in this alone? I would say to women out there, your tribe's still out there. Don't give up. Don't feel like you're still.
Find your people.
Right. They're there and they're looking for you too.
I love that. And I talk about circles all the time because I think you have to have a really good circle. And a lot of us have different circles, right? You might have one that's from like your neighborhood friends or, high school friends or whoever it is, but it's having those circles of people who are going to cheer for you, maybe smack you up against the head if you need it, when you're thinking negatively or just need to get out of the funk that you're in. So I think that's so important. And it could be one person, it could be 5 people, but you have to have that tribe, that circle who is going to be there to support you, but also sometimes nudge you when you need that too, and be authentic with you too, right? To have those authentic conversations.
Right. One of my favorite words is perspective. And I think working in the nonprofit, like at the Salvation Army, that came into play. Things that I thought were the end of the world. And then you see people struggling more. It's not that big a deal. It's not life shattering. There certainly are life shattering experiences and circumstances, but most things we get ourselves all worked up about aren't that big a deal.
Right. Yeah. No, that's very good. So it's finding the right people to be around with and finding something that you love to do, kind of going back to the fact of saying that you guys are not anywhere close to retiring. It's because you love what you do and you found your purpose and you enjoy doing it. So it doesn't probably feel like work when you get to choose what you're doing and you're making a difference and working with each other. And
oh yeah, sometimes it's really, really hard. It's really hard.
You might need a new coworker, whatever. It's fine.
And again, I have 2 daughters. You have kids.
We have 4 weddings in the next between the two.
He's got 3. I only have 1. But I have daughters 25 and 23, and I see myself in them at a younger thing. But again, I want to model for them that, and I know the struggle, that's natural parts of life, but to say, hey, this is not a big deal. This is not something to focus on, and look at the big things and enjoy every moment of what you're doing. Right.
Yeah, I love that. Patty, what would be your big takeaway for your kids? Like if you could instill, I mean, saying one thing is kind of hard, but like sort of one perspective for your kids, and as or that you try to instill since your kids are older, but just something that you hope that your kids take away.
I just said to you, I said, boy, it's a nice feeling when your kids are using your words and wisdom to you. And,
nice.
And when one of the phrases I would always say to them, and there's going to be moments in life, it's not if, it's when, right? Something's going to happen that you're not going to agree with. That's going to happen. When things go wrong, just don't go wrong with them. Stay the course, right? Get back on course. It's going to, the waves are going to hit the ship.
And the thing I always said to my girls and still say is, do what's right and smart. There are certain things, there's right and wrong, and you always want to do what's right. The second thing is do what's smart. There's some things that aren't necessarily right or wrong, but it's stupid. So don't do stupid, do smart. Smart and right.
That's do the right things for the right reason.
Yes.
There you go.
And my girls will laugh, but that's kind of, I gave them 7 things to look for in a boy since they were in 5th grade. And my one daughter would call me and go, Mom, on a date and say, he ordered appetizers, number 5. So, that's a whole story. But, you have to do it. But again, even keep it fun with your kids. If you're always harping, and I know you and your kids, they call you every day.
Oh,
well, adult kids, you
busted my chops.
Yes, well, of course.
They thought of you at least.
I think that speaks to her relationship with her kids, and that's what you want. With your adult kids are fun, but you build that all through their lives.
Nice, that's great. All right, I'm going to end with a quick lightning round. So I did not tell you guys this ahead of time. I think you'll be fine knowing the two of your personalities. Let's see what you come up with. One habit that keeps you authentic.
I have the same routine every morning. I get up, I take a walk with the dogs and the husband. I mean, not necessarily in that order. And I do a little devotional. We have breakfast, and I kind of do a little quiet time in the devotional every morning. That keeps me kind of focused on what my day is every morning.
Nice.
I don't know. The first word that comes to my mind is fashion. I don't ever.
Perfect for you.
I never want to look like a dud out there. I always want to put my best face forward.
You do. You do a great job at that.
On this, but I'm not going to comment.
All right. Favorite way to stay active outside the gym?
Walking.
Walking for
I love to walk. I love to be outside and walking.
I like to be with my animals.
She has goats.
Wow, that's fun.
I saved them.
I like that. All right, a woman who inspires you with her ageless energy.
It's my grandmother. I loved her my whole life. She passed away a couple years ago. Ironically, she started a business, her own restaurant at age 58. And that kind of gave me, she wanted to do that her whole life. So when I was toying whether what I was going to do, I'm like, this is what grandma did. And now that's what I'm going to do.
Aw.
I didn't know when she was alive, but I know now it was my mom. And it wasn't a physical energy that she had, but it was a spiritual energy. There wasn't a day that went by that she didn't pray for our family and wish us the best. And I've kind of been a warrior in the family as well. So
that's very important too.
I love that. What's one thing you'll never apologize for?
My high heels.
Again, it's back to fashion.
Back to fashion. She's authentic.
I know. I wear sensible shoes. My values and my defense of those values.
Oh, that's good. All right, let's do that. One word to describe each other.
We've already said it numerous times on this broadcast. For Kathy, it's definitely authenticity.
I'd say the same thing. And that's probably our common
denominator.
Yeah, our values, but also being real. I mean, we can laugh. She can make fun of my shoes. I don't care. I can make fun of her eyelashes. She might care. But, that, again, majoring on the majors, not trivial.
I love that. Well, this is great, ladies. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that. And I love the authentic, active, ageless triple threat. And if people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
They can find us, I guess, on LinkedIn. They can email us. We do, giving wellness we work together on. If you want to do that individually or as a group or a business, we've been speaking and sharing more. So if you need a motivational moment with your women's group, whatever, you can contact us, one or the other of us.
ptcfitness.com is our website where you can also get to the Giving Wellness.
Great, thank you. And we will link all that on the Loud and Lifted website as well. So we'll have that all available. So thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Betsy.
Betsy, it's been an honor.
Patty and Kathy, thank you for reminding us what it means to live fully, authentic in who we are, active in mind and body, and ageless in spirit, no matter what age. Here's my challenge to you listeners this week. Pick one way to be more authentic, one way to stay active, and one way to embrace your ageless energy. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be intentional. If today's conversation lifted you up, share it with a friend, hit follow so you never miss an episode of Loud and Lifted. Until next time, keep showing up, bold, bright, and absolutely unstoppable.